Hello and welcome to CNN News 18 special broadcast. This is Kamalika Sengupta with you all. Uh, Khala Hobe is a term that means we will all play. It's a term that is now in Bengal, and Bengal is trying to make this Khala Hobe term nationally very important. So right now, Trinamool Congress is equivalent to Khala Hobe, and Khala Hobe is now not only in Bengal and Tripura, but Trinamool is planning to do this Khala Hobe in western part of the country near Arabian Sea in Goa. And we are joined by our own colleague, Herman Gomes from there. So today we will basically discuss on what Trinamool is saying, that Trinamool, what we are getting from the insiders of Trinamool, that Trinamool is going to play the match in Goa, and that match is in February. Trinamool, after 10 years, they will be going there with the IPAC team is there, Derek O'Brien is there, Prashun
Yeah.
Banerjee is there, and they plan that they will crack it. So, Herman, thank you. Good morning, good Saturday morning, and would like to ask you that, from Bay of Bengal to Arabian Sea, back to a place like Goa, Trinamool is saying that Trinamool will crack it. Do you think on ground that is possible?
Well, Kamalika, thank you very much, first of all, for having me, and good morning to you too. I think the as far as the TMC is concerned, for them once again winning Bengal is like as good as winning the World Cup, and I think now Goa has been, I think, the sort of new goalpost, so as to say. Now, as far as Goa is concerned, we do know there is limited time in terms of, because the elections are somewhere due in the end of February. Now, as far as the opposition is concerned, which is the Congress, it is day and in and day out imploding. Besides that, you have all the other smaller parties. Is there a very strong opposition? I do not think so. Besides that, we've seen in the past, in the 2017 elections, how despite the fact that the Congress was the single largest party, yet they couldn't form the government. In such a case, I think the Trinamool Congress, I think they smell an opportunity. They're fresh from their victory from Bengal. They are roaring to go. They're looking at expanding themselves. And rightly, as you're saying, from the Bay of Bengal to the Arabian Sea, I mean, there's a lot of connections there if one looks at it. And during this time, which is why now you have the TMC, which has set its eyes on Goa, within the limited time, can they manage to do it or not? Well, that's another question for another day. But the fact is, it will also help them in cadre building. The TMC is not a new party to Goa, because back in 2014 too, you had Mr. Churchill Alemao, who had joined the TMC and he had lost. It was the Lok Sabha elections then. But the fact is, in Goa, rather than the political parties, it's mostly personality driven. So irrespective, who are these? Because as far as the TMC is concerned, you also know about it. They are very confident about people joining them. There are a lot of politicians who believe they might not get the political tickets to contest this election, and therefore they smell an opportunity in the TMC, which is why you even have senior heavyweights such as Derek O'Brien and Prasoon, who are MPs, as you were saying, who are camping there in Goa. They're trying to get a pulse of the people. And there is the IPAC team that is going around conducting surveys. And who are the people that they're meeting? That's very important. Because the Congress is at its weakest, I would say. You have five of them. I was asking, in fact, before this broadcast, I was talking to an MLA, a Congress MLA, and I asked him a sense of, what exactly is happening. And he said it's like a circus right now. Each one is performing to their own tunes with no ringmaster. That's exactly what he said, which is
That's
why we've seen that the day when Derek and Prasoon landed, in fact, in Goa, the very evening or the next day, you had the leader of the opposition from the Congress, Mr. Digambar Kamath, the former chief minister. Besides him, also the Goa Pradesh Congress chief, Mr. Girish Chodankar, who had to rush to Delhi to try and damage control at that point in time. So that is the sort of the scenario right now, Kamalika.
so that is obviously, that is one thing which is there. And what they are saying, Haman, that what we are getting from the inside is they will
Mm,
actually cash on that place which you were telling, that Congress, even after Congress getting in more seats in 2017, they got 17 and the BJP got 14. Congress couldn't hold it up. And there are two things, and that's what where my question is, that will the Congress, is the Congress totally dissolution, number one? And do you think that Congress absolutely will break away and join Trinamool Congress? And another question we'll add to that is, one is a footballer, and like from Goa and Kolkata, Bengal has one thing in common:
The
is
fish and
football,
the
and
fish and the
they can march, and they fish. So they have in that in the Goa match, what Trinamool has done initially, they have posted one forward player, former captain, a very renowned footballer who is an MP, Prashul, because
yeah.
that football has an appeal there, and obviously a very veteran leader, Derek O'Brien, who has has influence on Anglo-Indian votes. So will Congress really break out, and will these two guys, two senior leaders, can have real impact there?
Well, Kamalika, I think you will also agree when I say this, that the TMC is looking at expanding itself rather than just being seen limited only to Bengal. And this is an opportunity for them to do so. As far as the Congress is concerned, as I was saying, there is so much of infighting that day in and day out. And Goa is a smaller state, politically speaking. You have just two MPs who are sent to the Lok Sabha and one to the Rajya Sabha. So why would any political party, that wants to go national, really want to, want to contest in Goa? And the fact of that matter is, having a hold in Goa also gives them that expansionist sort of, a view. Besides that, they're also seen as that you probably have, the support of the minority community there. That is something that always works in their kitty, even though, it is debatable as far as the number of the population is concerned because of migration and other such issues. But rather, I think at this point, as far as the Congress, what I've been speaking to some of the leaders, and what they say is that they feel humiliated. In fact, some of them have even gone on record to say that they feel humiliated by the current party, the way how some seniors are being treated, and they fear that this time probably the Congress could go in for new, fresh faces. So what happens to the old faces, existing people who have MLAs who have still continued to be, who have the winning streak in them? They believe that this is an opportunity there for them, and therefore they could go over to the TMC. As I was saying, it's largely personality-driven elections always in Goa, irrespective of which party it is. And in such a scenario, you have even other smaller parties that are, and one, and I think there's another important question that one needs to ask, Kamalika, is, say for example tomorrow if there is a fractured mandate, will the TMC and the Congress, if an opportunity arises, would they decide to come again once again? Because once again they have just moved from one political party to another. We've seen,
Once
we do
bitten,
know,
twice shy for the people of Goa. Once bitten, twice shy for the
twice
people
shy.
of Goa.
Yeah, even the people of Goa also do feel that every time they do vote for the Congress, ultimately they end up joining the Bharatiya Janata Party. So is there an alternate front there? I think that is where the opportunity for the TMC. Now we do know they have been conducting surveys. They've been meeting. We do know that the IPAC team is also conducting its surveys. Now they've been meeting people from across different people in their own right who have really done well. Whether it's from the legal fraternity, COVID warriors, for example. During the second wave in Goa, we've seen how, due to various reasons, several people lost their lives. So there were a lot of people who came out and helped. So they're trying and meeting these sort of people who have also, activists too. So it is not just confined that they are looking at only probably say the Congress leaders or leaders from other political parties who feel they might not be given a ticket or so to contest. They are meeting across the length and breadth of the political spectrum, and that is
Yeah,
where,
what
and
I'm
it is
getting
just
is,
and it is
yeah,
just 5 months. So whether Prashant Kishore's magic
been
actually
training
works,
match. It
yes,
seems.
yeah.
So,
So
taking the cue from your point, like what I'm getting is, Derek O'Brien is now looking after the South Goa, and Prashun will be looking after the northwest portion of Goa. And what they have done is, what I'm getting information, that they have already started going into the villages. They're talking to people there, and
yeah,
there are certain issues like, the beach, the cruise price has gone high. There have been regulations, certain restrictions imposed. There has been, probably there's something on the Christian community also. I mean, that they are not coming out openly, but there are issues which, Trinamool will be hitting out. So how will the Congress hold up its bastion? What do you feel?
well, I think there is a latest, there was a statement this morning that was issued by the Goa Congress chief, and he says that they've got instructions from the High Command, which they are referring to as, which even they've mentioned in there, which is about Mr. Rahul Gandhi asking them to get all aggressive. But the fact of the matter is, when you already have such a minuscule number, five of them, and that also is left to implode, the Congress will really have to go back to its groundwork, get its workers back, try and get its cadres,
Is there
and then
time for
build.
that? Is there time for that? Is there
Exactly,
time for that?
exactly. Is there time for that? One really does not know, because they keep on fighting. You keep seeing them. There are some leaders who come for the press conference. For example, I often see their South Goa MP, who, even despite the Modi wave, the Congress still managed to win the South Goa seat. You have him conducting press conferences all alone there. There is no one around him. You see them, having solo press conferences. Each one seems to be talking in a foreign tongue, which the other doesn't even understand. In such a scenario, there is a dearth of strong leadership. In terms of alliances, will they go in for alliances? Someone like the Goa Forward has already said that no, time is up. We did try speaking to the Congress. So the Congress at this point, seems to be all lost, and it's an opportunity for the BJP, because with an entrant such as the TMC, it's only another number being added to the opposition party, while the ruling party has been going about doing its job.
But then,
They've been having
Harman,
their
what
yatras.
about
Yeah,
What about the up there? And that's the
yeah,
interesting thing. Arvind Kejriwal is is a friend of Mamta Banerjee.
the
So
Banerjee.
there, what up, and Congress, though Trinamool Congress always says that Congress will be the big front. The Congress will be a part of
Yeah,
that front. But what we see on ground is today also the Trinamool mouthpiece has come up with an editorial where they say that the
the-
real Congress is not there. Because of the Congress, the BJP has taken in more seats in the parliament. So, Trinamool is the only force which can take BJP. And if they can crack Goa, let me tell you, they will be, taking this trophy to Tripura and then to Delhi. So, there,
yeah.
what will be the equation with UP? What do you feel on ground?
Well, I think then it will be a rolling trophy, so as to say. But then, once again, you have several people from the Congress again. Even their current one of their vice presidents from the Aam Aadmi Party happens to be she was in the Congress. So once again, those who feel that they're being sidelined, they are being humiliated. These are exact words that they used during the press conference, not my words. And they see this as an opportunity. So whichever party comes, if they get the political ticket, that is more important for them, because as I was saying, it's more or less
But why
personality
TMC?
driven.
Why not BJP? Why TMC? Why not BJP? Why will they take TMC ticket? Why not
Because
BJP?
Yeah, because I think the BJP has already set, and they are sort of disciplined in terms of who to give the ticket. The party is very strict. We have seen that also in the past. In terms of distribution of tickets is concerned, they are very calculative in that sense. While the Congress is more forceful in the way it asks, I would say. So in some places, especially the younger lot, the younger ones who have been working for the party for the last many years, from NSUI to moving further, they do feel that they are being sidelined, being humiliated. They might not come out in public and speak about it until and unless they finally change, the sort of party that they stand for. But besides that, you can always hear the sort of hushed whispers where they feel that the old guard, that is, some of the existing MLAs, have really not been given them their due, which is why they've also been moving on to the Aam Aadmi Party. But the Aam Aadmi Party does have a groundswell. The last time, they contested elections in Goa, but they did not win a single seat. In fact, they went on to lose even their deposits very badly. You even had their Congress. In fact, the Aam Aadmi Party's last Congress face, Mr. Elvis Gomes, who happens to be from South Goa, he has currently joined the Congress Party. So they do feel at some point probably AAP is always seen as an outsider party. There is that strong sentiment in Goa, no doubt, of migrant influx, etc., where they look at certain parties as some as an outsider. There is that sentiment always, insider outsider. In such a
So
scenario, which is why you have someone like
will
Derek.
that not fall on TMC?
No, I think there is
Will that
a
same thing not
the
fall on TMC?
I think that as far as the TMC, it's a really fresh alternate, I would say, for the people of Goa. If one looks at it, they are fresh from their victory, a massive victory. We've seen them.
Yeah.
They are roaring to go. They are very aggressive. That is something again I forgot to mention. The Congress is not as aggressive as the TMC on ground.
Yes.
Besides that, there are so many other connections, as you're pointing out. Prasoon is these sort of soft skills also will help in a long way. Derek O'Brien's roots too, for example, the Anglo-Indian roots that we were referring to. Besides that, you have Prasoon's footballing skills. All of those soft skills somewhere might have some sort of might resurrect with the people of Goa. As far as Aam Aadmi
Yeah.
Party is concerned, they've been there. Their workers have been there, but once again, it remains to be seen who finally ultimately picks up the trophy.
And from Bengal, that I know that Abhishek Banerjee is totally making up the plan, and wherever they are going, whoever they are
Yeah,
meeting, it's all planned from the headquarters, and they are just going and delivering it. And there is a Mamta appeal too in Goa. That's what I'm getting it from
yeah.
source. You will be knowing it from ground, having, there is an anti-incumbency factor. In 2017, we have seen, and that's why the BJP got 14 and the Congress got 17. So tell me something, how is BJP, I mean, Trinamool is very aggressive, as you say, but then how then BJP, well, for BJP, Goa too is important, obviously, because
Yeah,
now, whichever state is going for election, it is the numbers, obviously, but it is a state and it's a perception. And the way
yeah.
Trinamool is going for an aggressive aggression, what do you think that what is BJP's strategy to, to defend that and attack that?
I think what the BJP for them, their biggest strength is the fact that they are also at the center. They are ruling at the center. The central government is with them. So I think that is their largest. Also, what one is looking at, as you're pointing out, Mamta does have that appeal in Goa, and that is because she has been seen to have been taking against the high and mighty of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Right from the top brass to even local leaders back in Bengal. So in that sense, it becomes very important. What could be their strategy for the BJP? I think, as I was saying, they do have a strong cadre base, in terms of dedicated workers who go out, who reach out to people. They have the central government on their side. But that be it, one thing also what remains to be seen, how do they manage, because this is the first time that you do not have Mr. Manohar, late Manohar Parrikar. He was the tallest
Yeah,
figure, arguably or not, he was the tallest figure for the Bharatiya Janata
absolutely.
Party. This is the first elections that he is not going to be there. So in that sort of scenario, will Dr. Pramod Sawant manage to sort of take that legacy forward? That is something that one will have to wait and watch out for. And ultimately, if nothing works, they will have to then fall back on their central leadership in terms of reaching out to the public. Because their star appeal in the BJP, we know whether it is the prime minister or the union home minister, that star appeal still is available. So that could be cashed on as far as this is concerned. And I'll always mention this. I'll tell you something, Kamalika, is that in Goa, no one really has ever got a massive majority and ever won. It's always been, you have to have those last minute alliances and then only the magic figure. I think the last only was during Mr. Manohar Parrikar's time when he had contested
Yeah,
as a chief minister before he could become the defense minister. Is
right.
when they had won with a simple majority of 21
Right.
seats out of 40, and then they were backed by certain 3 to 4 independents also. Now,
Right.
this time around, it is going to be difficult. The NCP too, you never know, because they've been also, their current MLA there's just only one NCP MLA, but he too has
Right.
been seeing, hobnobbing with the BJP. So in that sort of a scenario, what exactly happens? One really doesn't know. And I'll say this, I think declaring who is going to win Goa is always going to be an astrologer's nightmare. It has always
I
been
know.
like that, because it is
I
only
know.
24 hours after the votes are cast that the government I mean the results are declared. That ultimately, but having a win in Goa also sends out a message to various
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
sort of people that the minority vote is on our side. We do have we still have that
Yeah,
appeal with the
yeah,
minority.
yeah.
That is something
And
that,
and obviously, along with that, the TMC point is that TMC will be projecting that, see, it is only
yes,
TMC which can take on BJP seriously. See, it is TMC MLAs who cannot be poached. So right now,
right.
TMC will be taking in those people only. They will make them candidate who cannot be poached even after the poll results are declared. So that is one interesting game which happens there. Also, would like to ask you, Harman, that there is a big revolution in social media, as you were telling yesterday, and the small parties, the Goa Forward parties, and a lot of other parties which you are mentioning. Which way will
Yeah.
that go, and what will be the end result of these Facebook warriors?
I think the Facebook warriors, first of all, I think one needs to understand is the fact is that
Please, give
popularity.
us a little bit of definition. Is who all are these Facebook
Okay.
warriors?
Yeah. No, as I was saying, once again, it's personality driven. You have these smaller parties like the NGP, the Goa Forward. You have certain other groups that are, they're not political parties as yet because they are not yet registered. But the fact is that they have to have all been meeting IPAC guys. They might deny it in person, but everyone, it also. I also know it very well that they have been meeting TMC leaders. We do know also that, one of the strengths, and elections are always fought with money. There are a lot of resources are required in terms of monetary uh, resources are required to contest elections. The fact is that these smaller parties have also been meeting several of these leaders, so as to say, I won't take their names, from the TMC as well as from the IPAC. And one can look at it, the sort of money that has been, being quoted in terms of election expenditure. I'm not talking about, buying or poaching or any of that sort. So in that sort of sense, people need to realize is that if one does get 500 likes on Facebook, not necessary that those 500 likes will be translating into 500 votes, because in some sort of candidates in Goa, we are looking at, in some constituencies, for example, there are 10 to 12 people who are expected to contest the elections. Now, in such a scenario, the the margin of votes could be something even as low as even 50 votes. One does not know. It's all going to be a deciding factor. Facebook warriors,
Right.
some of them did some brilliant job. We did see during the pandemic, the second wave, as I was saying, and therefore now they too are being approached by the TMC, because the TMC has met them. They've seen their sort of groundwork. They know they do have that appeal. But 500 Facebook likes necessarily doesn't translate into 500 votes, because we do know there are fake accounts too, and that is a total mess. If one looks at it in Goa, you have one party shaming another, and openly so, brazenly being done. The language that is used every time, for example, the BJP, they go live and they have a press conference. The comment section is, I mean, it's not something even for a kid to even watch. That sort of, it's dirty, so as to say. But ultimately, who will win, one does not really know. But as of now, the TMC does seem to have an advantage, and the reason is also because they've taken on the high and the mighty of the BJP. So for them to take on, someone, a new chief minister, young chief minister such as Dr. Pramod Sawant, I think the TMC has already chalked out their strategy. And as you're saying, they're going out and meeting some of these people. We do know in some of the villages there are 200 people from the IPAC team who are conducting surveys. I think the strategy has already been chalked out in Bengal. I think you would know it better than me, Kamalika. And I think right now what they're just going about is just trying to get some feelers and indications of how to exactly spell out that entire strategy in the state of Goa.
Yeah, absolutely, Harman. What I am getting is absolutely the Trinamool is going to go head on with Goa. They are going to put more emphasis that they have put in Bengal. So that is what one point which is really striking. I can tell you that more and more, the leaders will be coming, and this time there is a difference. In 2012, when Trinamool Congress contested there, they got a 2% vote. They contested in 20 seats, but the Trinamool Congress, who will now go, that I'm getting it from my sources, they are, as you mentioned, because you are on the ground, that they are totally planned. The strategy is ready. Now they are
Right.
going to strike. That's what they are claiming. But obviously, the BJP is also big brother. BJP is also going to go, head on. And Abhishek Banerjee, in his every press conference or in his every rally, what he says is that he will go to that, they will go to that state where BJP is ruling. They will start from the zero. Not they will have one or two MLAs, but they're going to take head on and they're going to form the
Yeah.
government. So that is a very strong comment which comes up from Abhishek. Even Mamta Banerjee has also said that thing. When Mamta Banerjee, and we know that Mamta will be visiting Goa, say around November, and she will have that roaring campaign as what claimed by the Trinamool Congress. But on the other hand, BJP is also not a small player. BJP is a giant. Mamta has killed that giant once in Bengal, and Mamta will be taking that trophy, obviously, with the football, with the, March Mishti and everything. That's what is favorite for the people of Goa. And I know, Haman, that, more of me and you will be talking, and Goa will definitely be a very interesting match, and we'll all, see it, because we are the Vidurs of Mahabharat, and we will be seeing it,
I think
with
I
the
think I think I think I think the stadium is ready. We just need to get the players on now and watch the match.
Yeah, and we will be reporting it right there from ground. You'll be there, and I'll definitely want to go there, and we'll just heat it out
Hope to
and
see you.
see how Goa burns in February, not in December. So, it was great talking to you, and I know that you'll be
Thank you
getting
so
us
much, Kamalika.
exclusive, important, news from the Goa side, and I'll be also there with you. Thanks, Aman.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Kamalika.